Hi everyone, this is Ginger Aaron Brush, Social Media Manager for Asahperd. Today we are doing another Asahperd speaker series. I'm here today with Dr. Sandra Sims, and we're going to have a candid conversation around passion as it relates to our field. So Sandra, will you first introduce yourself?
I'm Sandra Sims from UAB.
And can you give me a little bit more into your professional career?
Wow, okay. I started public school teaching in 1983 in Blount County, Appalachian High School, a 1A school. I had the pleasure of starting my profession there, my career there. Spent 2 years, and then I left for a year. Did a graduate, got my master's at UAB in 1986, and had the opportunity to get to go and have an interview at Jemison High School. And I had a great career, Jemison High School, for 20 years. And then UAB offered me a job to come and leave public school. That was a tough decision because I was still in the middle of coaching, loved teaching. It was a very hard decision, but it was one of those things, it was kind of an opportunity that came. I cried a lot when I left because I really probably wasn't finished with that passion that I had for teaching, public school, and coaching. But, the door was open, and I had to jump through it. I wasn't sure when that door would open again. So I've been now at UAB for the last 12 years. It's been an amazing journey. I've learned so much in this process, but it's been great.
So you mentioned that you were a coach. What sports did you coach?
At my first school, at Appalachian, I coached volleyball and basketball. At Jemison, I coached volleyball, basketball for a year, and then we picked up tennis, and so that kind of took over a good bit of the time in the spring or the winter and the spring. Then I also picked up powerlifting.
So, and you won a state championship?
We won a few.
Yeah.
We won a few state championships in the boys as well as the girls in tennis, and had some incredible athletes during that time in the late 80s, early 90s. Wonderful time of the year. Some of the time, really the time of my career, it was so much fun. But the kids were just so hungry, and they had a love for tennis that I basically just kind of held the reins back, so I held them back a little bit. But we had a great ride, so it was a fun time. And of course, I love volleyball. We did well in volleyball, but never achieved the state championship level. But had a lot of great athletes in that as well. So still miss my athletic coaching career a lot.
Well, and one thing you forgot to mention, you were a college volleyball player.
I was, many moons ago.
Yes. So volleyball definitely.
It is. There's no doubt. Volleyball is my passion, and I would have loved to have been able to attain a championship. Mm-hmm. But I was pleased with what we were able to accomplish there. So Absolutely. It was fun.
Well, you are known by others for your joy and passion for this profession. What or who has inspired you over the years? What or who has fueled your fire?
Wow, that's a great question. I knew early, I knew as in high school that I was going to be a physical education teacher. I knew that I had declared when I was a freshman in high school. I had the opportunity in my high school, which was Irwin High School, to have my own class. I taught and wrote lessons as a senior, as a high school. Besides playing all the 3 sports, I was given an opportunity to actually teach and have my own class as a senior. And it wasn't the GA. It wasn't like your student. I was called Miss Sims. I was the teacher for the entire year, and it was probably the greatest gift. It reaffirmed me that this was the career that I wanted. I knew it. And honestly, I can't imagine doing anything else. This is what I've always wanted to do and to be, and I knew I wanted to teach high school, and that was where I went after, right from the very beginning. But people, there's been so many people. There were people in the high school that brought me up, and they definitely gave me an impact. And then you got the people in Asahperd. I grew up professionally and took the next level by this Asahperd. Asahperd was honestly the greatest gift. It helped me understand that there was more than just writing lesson plans, that there was the connection between other peers and hearing how other people teach, and the opportunity to grow and learn, going to conferences. There's no doubt Donna Dunaway and Donna Hester impacted my life. They have been incredible for me, both personally and professionally. But they gave me opportunities to serve on Asahperd's board, and I think in those times I just grew, and I think that really kind of, the fire was always there. I mean, it was there early because I just loved the profession, and I don't know why. I mean, I think it just, sometimes you believe and this is what you want to do, but to have it cultivated and nurtured, Asahperd did that for me. And then after, I don't know, after going through the process through the state, people started encouraging me to seek other opportunities in the district. And it just, the joy continues because you continue to grow your group of people that you hang with and just to learn from other people. And so I moved on and did a lot of things at the district level, and then moved on to the national level with some opportunities. And it's like it just kind of kept adding fuel to the passion that I already had for the profession. This is the profession I love, and I want to see it get better and better. And to me, the reason I left public school, as much as I loved it, the reason I really left was to try to impact other places. Like, I felt like I had made an impact in my school, but I wanted to begin to help the whole state. I wanted to help other people being able to have good physical education, have effective physical education, and I felt like that I could do that through offering opportunities by teaching future teachers. And I think that's a good beginning. But anyway, that's kind of like the backstory but there's been so many people. I mean, there's no doubt Donna have been a huge impact, but there have been so many people along the way. People that, like you, I mean, people that I watch and see that are great, effective teachers. That just continues to fire me up. Mm-hmm. And I know that I have not arrived. I'm not the best teacher, the best professor I can be, and I want to continue growing. And I do that by going to conferences and listening to other people speak, because I really do want to be this person who impacts physical education in our state. And I think that the only way to do that is to keep going and to keep learning.
Do you see passion as an important characteristic for a health educator or physical educator?
If you look at anything, if you look at any of the research, you look at anything about being a leader, about influencing people, motivation is critical. And coming from a coaching perspective, there are those few that you don't have to motivate, that they are self-motivated. But the majority of us need some kind of little thing. And I think the passion, not everybody has it at first. And I think they just need to be encouraged or influenced to find something. And, I think we have to develop those skills. And I think that's why you go to different conferences, like a leadership development conference, or you read books on leadership so that you can learn skills that you can either, as a coach or teacher, help other people be effective leaders, or you become a more effective leader. But I think passion is to me, that's the ingredient. Who wants to follow somebody who's negative? I mean, I can't imagine wanting to go hang with a group of people that all they did is sit around a table and talk about how things are horrible and the things that are bad or negative. Those are not the people I want to be around. I want to be around people that are excited about life, that want to make a difference in kids' lives. And I mean, it's what I want. So to me, the passion, the enthusiasm for just life spills over into your professional world. You got to love that.
I'm a true believer that passion produces results, both positively and negatively. Do you mind expanding on a circumstance or just sharing a situation where your passion fueled a negative experience?
Oh, wow. Let's see. Okay. Well, I can say that in advocacy, we had an opportunity to begin to sponsor a bill to try to encourage more physical education. And the passion of wanting everybody to have quality physical education, K-12, and that it be required, and we wanted to mandate it by law. was a wonderful concept, and the passion was there. Everybody wanted that. It's a noble thought that we would have this as a law. The tough thing was when we actually pursued that law, it brought out people who didn't really care about physical education or who had a bad experience of physical education. So the Code of Alabama 16-4-1 says there's going to be that there has to be a required system of physical education in schools. We just had added some language to say that K-8 would have 60 minutes or 30 minutes. I can't remember how it was worded now, but we basically opened up a door. We thought it was wonderful because we were passionate about making a difference. What it did is it opened the door for the negative side. We then had to kill our own bill because people had tagged things on. They said, okay, we'll do that with the exception of this and with the exception of this. So it would have really watered down what we literally have now in policies. So the passion of wanting to pass a bill had good intentions, but there was a negative response because it basically, not everybody has our passion, and they thought that we were taking something away from some other people like band or ROTC, and it was tough. And I'm going to be honest with you, as an advocate, it was devastating to see something very positive turn so negatively so quickly. And then it ended up where for the next year or two we had to watch legislation that somebody wouldn't bring that bill back and try to get it again. And they actually tried to. It's easier to kill a bill than pass a bill, so we were able to kill the bill on both times. But it was actually our bill, our original bill, that we had to ask that it not be brought forward. So that would be an example of having a lot of passion for something and it coming out and not being a very positive result.
How about an experience that ended positively where you feel that it was your passion that really made that experience possible? Where passion was the kicker.
It's funny because I could definitely pull this one thing, but we look at events, and if I were to tell you, won a lot of state championships, and that experience to see somebody come from a little small school and do something pretty incredible, those were great to see the passion that I was able to cultivate and work with kids to actually get better skilled. But I'm going to tell you a story to me of the greatest, for me, one of those moments in my career. I was in Jemison. We had grades 7 through 12 at one point. And so we were both middle school and high school when it was still together that way. And I had a young lady who could not hit a ball. She was in my physical education class, and she could not hit a ball that was tossed. It was softball. So we were in the unit of striking, and she could hit it off a tee. Now I know as an elementary teacher, you're going, are you kidding me? This is middle school. Why would you use a tee? Well, she couldn't hit. And so I was trying to find success. That unit was probably the gold star of my career, because this kid basically screamed. And you made an impact, but when she hit the ball for the first time that was tossed, she screamed. Now, I need to know the first impact. I thought she'd been hit. Something had happened because we were in a huge field, and she came running to me. So I'm thinking, okay, Sandra, brace yourself. If in case there's blood, you don't want to, let's don't panic. She was running to me, and she was this kid, a middle school girl, was so excited about hitting a softball for the first time in her life. And I just started crying, and I said, are you kidding? I am so proud of you. But at that moment, we'd already won state championships. We'd already won some things. And I remember being so moved by this girl doing something for the first time, and it meant something to her. And a lot of people do it, and it's just old hat. Okay, I got that next skill. But it was something that it was missing from her. And so that sounds kind of cheesy, but honestly, I remember that day as if it was yesterday. So, for her to actually have taken something, and my passion is just to let everybody find joy in movement. And everybody's not built to be athletes. As a coach, I'd love for everybody to find their sport. Everybody is not built to move in a athletic way, but we're all built to move. And we just have to find something that people can do and that they like to do. And so for me, I think as physical educators, we have made movement so non-joyful or such a chore or such a test that we've moved people away from movement. And I think finding joy in this one kid hitting a ball, it took me to a place that I just wanted to remember that this is why I teach. That for a kid to find that much joy in doing something for the first time. So I don't know. We want to teach them that there's joy in movement, and that was the day that it was solidified for me.
I can tell you just telling the story, it's almost like you get chill bumps.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. It's real.
All right, moving forward, our conversation, as I mentioned, will be shared to all of our Asahperd members, from our future professionals all the way to our retirees. So what advice could you share with our future educators?
I want them to make a difference. This is what I try to teach the students at UAB. I would love to be able to, I don't want them to be a mini-me. I want them to be themselves. But I want them to also not go into a school and just do what's always been done. I want them to charter new paths at that school and not be caught up in, this is, we always do this unit, we always do it this time. I really want them to be inventive, and I want them to be creative, and I want them to find something where they can bring passion to the students. These kids, everybody wants to move. We just got to make, and when they say middle school kids don't like, they love physical education. We just got to find what they love. High school kids, they will dress. They'll dress if we give them something to do. But if we make it boring, we make it such a chore, most people don't want to do that anyway. So where they begin to find, so those young people that are coming out, I want them to want to make a difference. And I want them to really challenge the things the way it's always been done. And I want them to seek new ways that would actually, invigorate and fascinate kids to want to think about movement in a different way. And, if it's not out there, if they don't have equipment, to find a way to get it. And to not say what I don't have. To use what they have and to make it as dynamic as they can make it. Because we have to be both effective in the classroom and on the fields when we're coaching. But I want them to understand that they are definitely a physical educator first. But if we can get that where they can actually really start seeing that they're impacting a life, there's no greater feeling than making a change in a student's life. So that would be it. I would just, I'd want them to want to make an impact daily.
Yeah. Burnout is a major issue in the education field. You outwardly display happiness and joy. But I wonder, is there a time in your career that you have experienced burnout?
The word burnout is interesting. I've read about it. Now, have I ever been tired? Wow, when you get in at 2 or 3 after a big, long tournament and you have to be back in the gym at 7 a.m., those are days that are tired. But I can truly say, and I tell my students this, there's never been a day that I didn't want to wake up and go teach. Now, there might have been a day I wanted to sleep a little longer before I got out of bed, but there's never been a day that I've wanted to walk away from this career. And if that day ever comes, I'm out. I have enough years right now I could walk away, but I haven't even thought about retirement at this point because I love teaching. And I think when you love it, and as long as you continue to love it, I think we're good. But I think that there are a lot of people that are actually retired on the job in our profession, and there's no accountability, so they just basically show up and sign in and sign out. I've never felt that, and I don't want to feel it. But there's no doubt I felt tired, and I've wanted to sleep a little bit longer on a few days. But I've never wanted to not teach, and I've never wanted to not coach. Those are, they're my joys of life. And like I said, I still miss the coaching piece pretty bad.
Well, ever since I've been a part of Asahperd, you've been an active serving on the board or leading various task groups or such. Thinking back, just name some of the positions that you've filled.
Well, my I started off as secretary, and I remember we don't even have that position anymore, but secretary was the beginning piece, and I just kept my head down in the board meeting and just listened to all these people that were great in our profession that that I began to see on the stages, and I remember beginning that way, and I've pretty much held most positions on the board, but it's been a great joy, and I think the biggest thing for me is I watched in the process, and that's why I wouldn't become president for a long, long, long time, because what I had watched sitting as a board member were our presidents would come, they would be in the executive committee, and then they'd rotate off. So when people would say, "Okay, Sandra, you have been here, and it's time for you to become president," I said, "No, I don't want to leave. I want to be a part of this board. This is where we make a difference." And it took a while, but it was funny because when I finally accepted to do president, not run for the president, when I came off, I made it perfectly clear that I was not rotating off. Because as a president, you can't hold those old positions that you used to have, so they had to remove any committee position that I had. And then as soon as I finished my executive role, I came right back on, because I don't have to be the leader. I just want to be a part. I want to serve, and I love serving. I mean, really, my passion is serving others and serving kids and serving our profession so that we really make a difference. So I really don't want to get in the list, because really I think it would kind of bore us. But I've served in a lot of the positions, but the greatest thing is just being on the board and being a part.
Would you say that it's the ability to serve that has kept you involved over the course of your time working with Asahperd board, and that's what keeps you involved now?
Yeah, and I think, it's like, so I stepped off a couple of years ago. I left the board because I really felt like it was time, because I had been on it a long time, and you start thinking, wow, I'm taking a spot. I'm taking a spot from young minds being on here. Sandra, you've been on here for over probably 30 years. You're sitting in this capacity. Maybe it's time to step back. Now, there were other things that were going on in my life during the last 3 years, so I needed to step out of some of the leadership roles for other reasons too. But I think it was good. But there was an emptiness. I was missing something. I missed serving the state. I miss serving and being around other people that serve and that really want our profession to grow. And even though I could do that at UAB, that's still UAB. I have a feeling that I want to help the state grow. So that's why this year I actually said, I'm interested. I want to come back. I want to serve in some capacity, and now I'm back on as the future professional chair, and I want to help those students actually start working back again. But it's not about holding a role or holding a spot. It's almost like going back home. It's family, and so I think serving is pretty important for me, because it is volunteer, and we don't, it's not none of us have done it for the money. None of us have ever done anything teaching for the money, but I just love the people and love to hang with them.
You had mentioned books and things like that have helped you learn about your passion and the joy that you have in the profession. Is there a particular author or a particular book that you would recommend to others? Or at some point, can I get a list and we can post that?
Here there are so many. I mean, I go back to my Montevallo days. I've kept every book that I've ever had. I've never walked away. I've never sold a book back. There are so many books from anatomy. I mean, I use so many things that there's not a one author. There are so many great authors out there. Today with technology, we have things at our fingertips. I mean, I'm an old girl. This is back in the typewriter days when I was in college, and the books, the hard copies. But I still love those now. I still love to go back and look back into those books and still pull from activities from the books and different concepts of how to teach physical education. So, I mean, I could probably have to go back and look at every single book that's on my shelf, but because I haven't parted with any. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming that when I retire, whatever that day would be, that I'll pass it on to the UAB Physical Education Library, and hopefully somebody else will pick it up. But there's been numerous. So there's really not a one go-to author because there's been so many.
Mm-hmm.
There's been so many of these authors that are great out there. So.
Oh, well, I wasn't going to bring this up, but you mentioned Montevallo, so this will date us both, but
Oh, wow.
I went to Montevallo as well for my bachelor's and master's, and one of the classrooms was a room that had all the people who were in the Montevallo Hall of Fame. And so as a student, I would see these pictures and this, the biographies of all these people. And one day, for one of my physical education classes, you came in as a guest speaker. Now this has been,
what year was that?
Well, it had to be probably 18, 19 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And so that was my first impression of you. I had no idea who you were other than seeing this biography and knowing that you led the university in the number of kills and volley bars, or there was blocks, there was some great statistic for you. But then here you walk in, and ironically, that same day we were having a conversation about what we're talking about now is your passion and being connected and building a relationship with students. But so that stuck with me. So whenever I see you and I see the passion that you bring and I see the joy, I know that has been part of you for a number of years, but your passion, it just continues growing because, Sandra, you're everywhere. You do so much with this profession and this association. So you made a big impact on me then, and through your UAB students and through your leadership role with Asahperd and Southern District, you are continuing to impact so many people. So is there anything else you would like to reflect on about passion or about the profession?
It's the greatest profession in the world. I don't, the people that are out there and they get up and they bemoan getting out of bed and going to a gym. My gym was non-air conditioned. I swept the gym floor every day. I loved it. I mean, I still, there might be times I'm getting a little old now to think about all the times, and I wonder how in the world did I keep the hours? I think that's the biggest thing is that, that time, how much time commitment it was. But I'm going to be honest with you, I'd go back and do it again. I absolutely love everything that I've had a chance to do. I still think there's so much more I need to do before, you put you hang your cleats up, so to speak. But I think for me, it's been a great ride, and there has been joy in this journey, and it's been an amazing road. It started in Montevallo, and in May we had some amazing professionals there that really started that the run of wanting to be an effective teacher. So when you look at where you've come from and you start looking at and I look back, I remember coming to Montevallo. I would love to tell you I remember everybody in that classroom. I don't. But it's fun to know that that people do remember that you've come back in. But while those days have long gone, but I would go back in a heartbeat and do it all over again. For me, it's if you don't love it, I wish that they'd get out because they're really impacting kids. And there are kids that need a teacher that cares about them and cares about whether they move correctly and about whether they enjoy being well. We don't need another coach that just goes out and says, well, physical education is the only way I can coach. We really need great teachers. And I really feel like that's where my passion comes, is I really still want to see more people get in that world and make a difference. And I think that we can. I do. I think that we truly can make a difference. And so the passion's there. I just wish other people would look at it because it's really not hard to feel happy about this profession. But I do believe that we make a difference, and I think if I can impact one kid, it's kind of like when I go anywhere. I'll be honest with you, this is my story. I get a chance now to go all across the country, and I take every single time that I can stand up in front of anybody as an honor. But I go with the concept that if one person is in that room and I can impact one person, that was worth my time. So knowing that
You
came
did?
many moons
Yes.
ago, and that I impacted. It's worth the time. So if I can feel that, and I can make one person, and if we as a teaching group would see that we just need to touch one kid, and we do that through enthusiasm, passion, and being present in mind and spirit, that we really go after teaching and have that as our thought process, we could move mountains, and we could change the world. Really, we could. We could do it one kid at a time.
Sandra, we truly appreciate you taking the opportunity to speak with us today. Your expertise and your passion are evident in all that you do. Thanks again.